Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I am joined today with Brian. Brian, how are you doing?
Oh, excellent, because we get to show off one of my decks.
Yeah, you're pretty excited about this one. It looks like a fun one.
I've played it once so far. That's the catch.
I
haven't really tuned it or anything, but I enjoyed playing it, and I enjoyed the theme that I tried to stay within.
Okay.
Yeah. This week, it's my Omnath, Locust of All, and the deck name that I chose is the Omnath Phyrexian Invasion. The goal that I wanted to try to build within this is to use some of the battles, so use some of the invasions. That's my Phyrexian Invasion.
Yep.
And I wanted to kind of limit myself to a majority, if not all, of my creatures are Phyrexians. There's a card that I added in to skirt that a little bit, but most of the, my small creature ramp, stuff like that, isn't Phyrexians. Unfortunately, they didn't give us any mana ramp Phyrexians.
Yeah, Phyrexian Llanowar Elf would be a real banger.
Right? Yeah. Come on.
Give me one of those in white so we can ramp out the glory of Elish Norn's creatures.
Mm-hmm.
You know how
that would have been really cool, actually, a white mana ramp.
Yeah, a one white mana, tap for one white mana pip, I would put in so many decks. Give me that at rare.
With Toxic One.
With Toxic One. Toxic One, Shroud.
They try
to staple some draw into it just because it's white.
If you tap it for mana, draw a card.
Yeah. Then if they have more creatures than you get a creature, put it at Mythic Rare, but only put it in one commander deck that no one wants. That's the way they go.
And on that commander deck, skyrockets in price.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's like the Savine deck all over again. You got to buy it you got to buy one card to get the Goblin, or what's the ETB Treasure Goblin?
Oh,
Dockside,
yeah, Dockside, yeah.
It was in a terrible deck.
And also the one for the Fierce Guardianship from the Ikoria set.
No, that was a good one.
But still, it skyrocketed that price.
You mean the Gavi one? Yeah. Well, yeah. That whole point is if you buy that, you just get a free $90 card. That card doesn't even really fit in the deck. You can just take it out and still have a pretty fun deck. Take it out, put in Decree of Annihilation, and cycle destroy all lands.
You're a monster. I was actually talking to our Patreons. Like, oh yeah, our friends blow up all our lands. I was like, what monsters do you play with?
Wouldn't know who would act like that.
At least it hasn't happened to me, Daniel. So
yeah, that's true. It's we played really quickly before we get into it. We played one time Adrian came out to play with us, and it was me, Dean, and Connor. Connor's playing his Bob Ross painter deck.
Yeah,
to change everything. Dean was playing his mono white stacks deck that destroys lands, and I was playing the Malira deck, which the whole point is to ramp mana and destroy lands. The Myriad deck, yeah. So he was playing against 3 decks that were wrecking with lands and stuff. I think I destroyed lands 3 times. Dean destroyed lands twice. Connor made it so that people couldn't tap for the right card. It was quite the game.
Surprise Magic was actually played.
I think Adrian ended up coming through with that one. I think he got big.
You can't beat the ogre.
Yeah, I think he got a big amount of copies of the Phyrexian Triniforms. Yeah, those ones were rough.
You can't beat the ogre.
Tell me what Omnath in a Cave does.
So, Omnath, Locust of All / in a Cave. It is white, blue, Phyrexian, black, red, green. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes black instead. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana in any combination of its colors and put it into your hand. If you don't, reveal it, put it into your hand.
It's a really cool ability. I haven't played around with this one enough.
To me, it's basically just free draw.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you don't reveal it, you get your draw.
Or I can potentially get the 3 mana if I need it.
Well, and that's pretty aggressive ramp, but I also just like that ability. You put a Seedborn Muse deck in everything you can have. Is there a Seedborn in here? Give me the spoilers. No Seedborn in this one?
There's no Seedborn.
Well, this is the one that should, because being able to stack up that much black mana is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely. I really like that. I would run all of the mana doublers in this and then just exsanguinate people. like those kind
See,
of
that's
effects.
one way to build it, 100%. But I think the reason I didn't put the Seaborn in is because it's not Phyrexian, and it's 5 mana. So I wanted my more expensive cards to be Phyrexians.
That's fair. It's I looked a little bit at the creatures you have in here, and there's some bangers.
Yeah, and like there's one card in here which we'll get to, that basically all my creatures become Phyrexians. So I could now, if I really wanted to, go back and find a slot for Seaborn. Probably, honestly, it could be a land. I think I'm running 35 or 34. But I'm running more land than I typically would due to it being 5 colors. I want to make sure that I get my colors.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a 5-color deck can be well built or can be expensive, but it can often not be both. You know?
Yeah, it's usually more expensive and doesn't play well.
Yeah, right.
Well, and also, as everyone that's been listening, I've been kind of trying to not use fast mana.
Yeah.
So I have, like, when we get down to my artifact section, you'll notice there's just a lot of mana rocks. And I was telling Daniel, I was like, it's 5 colors. Like, I have other talismans and stuff. Should I put them in? But then I was like, okay, we'll see how it plays, and then we'll go from there. If I need more mana or I need more mana fixing, I can go back to do that.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that with that top ability, you're not going to be inconvenienced by stacking that little bit of extra mana. You don't actually need to make black mana in this deck, too, which is another unique way you could play it, because you could still run black cards in this deck without any black mana sources, which would also be kind of cool.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Omnath's got lots of like super, super cool ways. Like I said, I would go really, really hard into the I love OG Omnath's ability where you store your mana up.
And he gets bigger.
Yeah, and again, like I already looking at this, you can see so many like build paths. Like the fact that it's a 5-color elemental with like a really, really cool draw ability. That triplicate mana like draw generation is really interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially if you do get like a 3-colored black, like what's the Phyrexian Annihilator or something like that. So it's in black, which is 4 black or 5 black pips.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's like another way that you could just really easily play a really high.
I show him, and I pay 2.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Another one that I'm just thinking before as well. Crick could be pretty cool.
Yep.
Because like you could run a pretty, I would say, stupid version where Crick is like a secret commander in Omnath, and you use that ability to pay the 2 mana.
Yeah.
The 2 life with the instead of the black mana, and then just life gain yourself. I might build myself some Omnath decks. You've got me already excited, and I haven't even seen the Phyrexians yet.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So we'll jump in it, and we'll skip currently the Phyrexian part of the deck to the invasion part of the deck. I wanted to include some of the new battles. Some of them seemed really interesting. Some of them had the flip side as a really dumb thing. So, I had to try it. So to start us off, I won't make Daniel go sideways or look like an elf for the first one.
Oh, I've been pulling them up on Gatherer on the side here.
I have words for you.
We'll get there.
We have Invasion of Asgul. So with Invasion of this is a red and a black to cast, and it has 4 defense. When Invasion of Asgul enters the battlefield, target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and loses 1 life. And if it gets beat, it flips and it becomes the Ashen Reaper. It has Minach. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on Ashen Reaper if a permanent was put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn. And it's a 2/1.
I like that.
I thought for a 2-drop, for a 2/1 that can get bigger if stuff dies, sure, like might as well.
Yeah, I could see that one working out.
Plus, I thought it's a little bit more of a cheaper one. When I was initially putting this deck together, I thought my CMC was a lot higher than what it was. But I think I'm sitting for at 202 or something like that, something dumb. But so far, it's worked out well. My first game worked out well. I'm going to be play testing it a little bit more today. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it actually comes out.
That the Reaper thing there, it can get pretty big too with how many people use treasure tokens without,
Yeah, it's a permanent. It's not just a creature or anything along those lines.
It would fit really well into right into a Mogus deck. Like that would be a super cool card for that.
Mm-hmm. And again, I love in the background, you can see the world tree or the realm breaker's roots breaking through the sky.
Yeah, I really like that in all the artworks that you can. It's super cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice piece that they added into it.
Yeah. Your next one we have is, I believe, Invasion of Ergamon.
Yep.
When it enters the battlefield, it's one red, one green. It's Siege. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Then you may discard a card if you do draw a card. That's great. It's ramp, it's loot, and it's on theme for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's also then flipping over. Oh, and it is a 5 to defeat. Yeah, when it's defeated, it flips into this Truga Cliffhanger. It's a 3/4 Rhino.
Charger.
Cliff Charger?
Is that one of your favorite movies in the past?
What did I say? Cliffhanger? Oh. It's Cliff Charger? Yeah. Either way, he's a friend. When Truga Cliff Charger enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a land or battle. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. That's great. That's ramp. That's finding you other battles if you need later on. I think that's a really, really cool ability to...
And it's a 3/4 too.
Yeah,
big boy.
It's definitely not bad at all.
Yeah. But this next one, boy, Invasion of Ikoria. So we know we're getting something good here. X and 2 green. When Invasion of Ikoria enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. It has a 6 for defense, and it flips into Zilortha, Apex of Ikoria. It is a dino, and it has reach. For each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. And it's an 8/8.
For each non-human. That's pretty cool. And like you said, you're into the Phyrexians.
Yeah. So let's go.
Well, and you can potentially just like getting this flipped over can just potentially end the game for someone. Losing like damage that way is rough.
I block with all my creatures. I say nay.
Block all you want.
You do.
Block all you want. You're
yeah,
dead.
Exactly.
You're dead and you're gone. Yeah, I like that one.
And I think that he's gonna step on a bug.
True. He's gonna stomp the opponents for sure.
Yeah, 100. I had it out. It was great.
It does work. You also have this Invasion of Karsus. 2/2 red. It's a 4 defense counter siege. When it enters, deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So that's a pretty phenomenal sweep for getting the peasants off the board. And in a Phyrexian themed deck, you're not really caring about that.
Well, and like some of my creatures, they make that new incubator token. So if I have a whole bunch of incubators out,
yeah,
I can sweep the board and then
transfer.
all of a sudden I have a bunch of creatures.
Yep. You have as well invasion. Oh no, sorry. Still, yes. The invasion flips to Refraction Elemental, and that is ward, pay 2 life. Whenever you cast a spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent, and that's cancer.
Like some of these, I'm just like, it's too fun not to play with.
Yeah, that's a very cool one. You can get a lot of damage out that way. Even casting 2/3 spells, dealing out like 18 damage. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm. And then the next one here is Invasion of Chandelire. It's 3 and 2 green. And when Invasion of Chandelire enters the battlefield, return up to 3 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. It's recursion for 3 permanents. That's not even creatures, which is great. So if anyone removes any of my key pieces, I'm able to get them back. It has a 4 defense, and when it flips, it becomes a Leyline Surge. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield.
That's a really cool ability.
Yeah. It just really able to, I know someone has a counter. Let me put my big creature this turn into play and not have to cast it.
Just the mana that you save with that too, right?
Yeah. It's really good. Like I was able to get some of these out and no one thought they were big enough like to be removed or they didn't need to be removed.
Everyone just let you be.
Yeah. It was really cool.
So different from your normal playstyle?
Yeah, always being targeted on the online games or on the streams. Yeah,
Yeah, right?
because I don't have the peanut gallery saying kill Brian.
True. The last battle we have here is Invasion of Tolvada. 3-1 white, 1 black. It is a 5 defense again. When it enters the battlefield, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And when it flips over, its creature tokens you control get 1/0 and have lifelink at the beginning of your end step. Create a 1/1 white and black spirit. Creature token with flying. I like that. Really, really easy to get life back. Really easy to get jump blockers.
Yeah, because again, if I'm incubating, those are tokens, and I can then get a way for me to get life back in my Phyrexian deck.
I haven't got a chance to play around with the Brimaz deck yet, but it looks really, really fun to do all that incubation shenanigans.
I'll really go into it once we actually dive into the creatures, because there's a few different creatures that kind of really nicely combo with him. But when your brother was playing it, he didn't really seem to enjoy it.
No, Jacob didn't enjoy that deck at all.
Yeah, so I was just like, so when I played it with him, I was just like, man, this is going bonkers.
Yeah. I think the incubator thing looks cool, but I could see how some people might just not enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, if you're not really one that makes tokens, like most of the time I play with Jacob, his play style is more aggressive instead of I'm going to sit there and save and make 30 tokens.
Yeah, well, and that's the Brimaz deck seems to me that you sit there, you save it up until you get your invasion army ready to go, and then you wipe the board and flip all these creatures, and suddenly you're a menace. It seems fun.
This card, Ren and the Realmbreaker I got this out on turn 3, and I was able to alt it, and I never had to worry about anything in my deck again. So Ren and Realmbreaker, 1 and 2 green, legendary planeswalker Ren. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. You can +1 it, and target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with vigilance, hexproof, and haste until your next turn. It's still land. -2, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand. And -7, you get an emblem with you may play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard.
That's such a crazy emblem.
Yep, it is fantastic.
Being able to replay your fetches, being able to replay your battles, like that's good.
Yeah, it worked out. Yeah, it worked out really well.
The other thing too is that usually you're at a disadvantage, like alting your walker, because then you're like, okay, I don't have it anymore. But you can just play Ren again from the grave.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you can just keep playing Ren.
I have 3 emblems.
Well, yeah, because once you get the emblem and stuff, right? Your lands are just your lands are gonna keep that, and then you can just consistently mill 3 cards, and you get permanent back when you mill it. You can keep playing the other one, so
the only thing that hurts is your spells.
Yeah, I don't put those in decks.
That's the only feel bad.
That's my secret.
You did last time.
Yeah, I did last time on that one. I'll give you that. one.
When you start us off in the creatures there, sir?
So we have the Alabaster Host Sanctifier. It is 1 and a white for a 2/2 Phyrexian Cleric, and it's got lifelink. I like that.
Yeah, good clean fun, right?
Good clean fun, nice and early.
The next 2 cards are obvious ones. We got Birds of Paradise. That's 1 green, flying, tap to add 1 mana of any color. The next one here we have is Bloom Tender, 1 and a green, and for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color.
Yeah, great if your commander's out as well.
Yep, exactly. I'll let you have the next new one here.
Yeah,
get the ramp out of the way, get into the juice.
Yeah, I do really like the next one. It is the Brimaz we were talking about, the Blight of Oreskos. 2/1 white, 1 black for a 3/4 Phyrexian cat. Wow. Whenever you cast
on roids.
Yeah, this cat's beefy. Whenever you cast a Phyrexian creature or artifact spell, you incubate X, where X is that creature's mana value. And that incubating X means to put X/1/1 counters on a artifact.
When it flips.
Yeah, and then when it transfers, you transform it, it transforms into a 0/0 with that many counters. So if you're casting something like even that Alabaster Host we talked about, right? That's going to incubate 2, and it's going to let you have that mana sink in to flip over, and you get the 2/2s and the beginning of your end step. If a Phyrexian died under your control this turn, you proliferate, which is also a great ability.
Yeah, It works out really well.
Yeah.
The next one came from one of our earlier sets, Defiler of Faith, 3 in white, Phyrexian human. Unfortunately, this one doesn't work for my searches. But Vigilance, as an additional cost to cast white permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 white less to cast. If you pay the life this way, this effect reduces only the amount of white mana you pay, and whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token.
Yeah, I like that.
Again, I put it in there. It's a Phyrexian, and it will allow me to cheapen my white spells.
Well, that's at this point you're getting down to Omnath for 4 life and 3 mana, and that's pretty quick.
Yeah, right. Even though I'm dropping him for 5.
True. We also obviously running Phyrexians. We're going to run this if we've got it. Elish Norn Grand Cenobite. We've got 5 double white for a 4/7 Phyrexian Praetor. With Vigilance, other creatures you control get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. That static ability just ruins board states sometimes.
Yeah. In my one game, I procced a card that's in this deck and was able to search for all my Praetors, and my play group decided on which Praetors I was actually allowed to grab.
That's funny.
Even though I have the Halo foil of this one, they didn't allow me to grab it.
Well, yeah, and especially like with your Brimaz, right? You're incubating 7 on that cast, so you can flip a 7/7 for 2 that's going to get buffed +2. Yeah, it's a pretty cool card. I really like the flavor text on this version of it too, though. Rejoice, blessed of angels. The glorious light of completion is nigh. Soon we shall awaken the multiverse from its slumber.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it.
Elish Norn chatting with their peeps.
Yeah, it's a very cool card, and I love the different versions we've been getting.
So, since you had the Brimaz, I'm gonna take this one. So we got Elvish Mystic, 1 green, tap for 1 green. That's a 1/1. Please read us the next card.
This is the one you want me to read?
Yeah.
Elvish Vat Keeper, 1 black, 1 green for a Phyrexian elf, 3/3. When it enters, incubate 2, which is great. And then 5 mana, transform target incubator token you control, double the number of 1/1 counters on it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good ability to. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like some of these cards just work so well together. So like putting it into a 5-color deck really kind of makes them all proc off of each other, which is amazing.
Anything that says double is always great.
Yeah, like a double. Yeah. Good old Timmy's. The next new one here we have is Essence of Orthodoxy, 3 and 2 white for a Phyrexian. Has flying, and whenever Essence of Orthodoxy or another Phyrexian enters the battlefield under your control, incubate 2.
I don't know if that's in the Brimaz deck, is it?
If not, if you opened up the pack.
I'm gonna just interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna get myself one of those if it's not. That's a really cool card.
Yeah. If not, I have an extra one for you.
Oh, sweet. That would be lovely.
I think I opened a few, so I read it and I was like, this is great.
That is a cool one. Do you want to take this next one too?
Because it's my boy. We got Atali, Primal Conqueror, 5 and 2 red for a legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, Trample. When Atali, Primal Conqueror, enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. That's just too funny. Because I thought it was a single card, but nah. Let's go for them all.
Nope.
And it is a 7/7 by itself. Or we could play 9 and a Phyrexian green to transform. Bagow! And we got Atali, Primal Sickness. Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur. Completion is so much better, guys. Trample, Indestructible. Whenever Atali Primal Sickness deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters.
That's a problem. That's a problem, especially with that Ziatora thing where you can just be like, bonk.
You take 11.
Beep boop, you're dead.
Yeah. My dinosaur just wants to love you.
Yeah, right. We've got a lovely Fabro Elder here. 1/1 green, 1 white for a 0/0 Tree Folk Druid. With Vigilance, it gets 1/1 for each color among permanents you control, so a lot of times it's going to be minimum of 2, but in this deck, very easy to get to 5. Yep. Then has tap for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. Again, great ability.
Again, I just needed the ramp. That was all I was kind of thinking at the beginning. It's like a lot of these things are big, or I want to be able to play a bunch of them so I can get those tokens going.
Well,
so
you
again,
can get that
mana.
stuff out early, right? So you can get these things out pretty quick. I really like that.
Yep. Then I have Findhorn Elves. For some reason, it definitely did not put the copy that I have in there.
Findhorn and Elfin.
Yep, exactly. It taps for a green. That's a 1/1 elf. Please take this card.
Next one, the new Glissa. We've got Herald of Predation. 3/1 black 1 green. Phyrexian zombie elf. It's 3/5. In the beginning of combat on your turn, you choose one. Incubate 2 twice. Awesome. Transform all incubator tokens you control. Even more awesome. And Phyrexians you control gain first strike and death touch till end of turn. I like it.
You see my plan?
I like it. I like this. This deck actually looks like a lot of fun so far. I am enjoying this.
Because as you see, get down, I have Mondrak in here.
That's cool.
So if I'm making all these tokens, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting there with 12 of these incubator tokens, and I get Gliss out, and I move to combat.
And it is the beginning of combat. That's a big problem.
I transform all of my tokens, and so we looked into it. The tokens, the incubator tokens are out. They flip. They don't have summoning sickness.
Yeah, summoning sickness is only because they're not re-entering as something different. Yeah. They have counters on them, so they're just transforming into a creature. It's no different than animating an artifact or something like that. So yeah, it's just they're just there, and suddenly what's up?
Hi. And again, if we have Brimaz. And we have the other ones out. Some of these are much bigger. Some of these could be 5/5 or 5+1/+1 counters on some of the incubators.
I'm big on the attack on Titan, and I'm gonna get someone to make me an altar of this with Glissa as the Beast Titan. It's you don't watch that show, Brian, but
no, I don't.
It's a good reference. It'd be pretty fun. And then I'm going to, for anyone who watches it, I'm going to scream every time I use that ability. I'll show you after, Brian. I'll show you after. You'll get it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
The next creature we have in the line here is Grafted Butcher, 1 and a black. When Grafted Butcher enters the battlefield, Phyrexians you control gain Menache until end of turn. Other Phyrexians you control get +1/+1. Pay 3 and a black, sacrifice an artifact or creature, return Grafted Butcher from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just get rid of one of your incubator tokens if you really need it.
Yeah. You've got a nice little 1-drop Phyrexian vampire here, Ichor Drinker. 1 black for a 1/1 lifelinker, and you can pay a black, exile it from your graveyard, incubate 2, activate it only as a sorcery. I like that.
Yeah, it's great, right? And I put a lot of these in because they're just 1-drop Phyrexians. I was trying to stick to my theme, and so I tried to find those 1-drop ones that at least still went into the plan.
Yeah, no, I like this creature selection so far. The next one, I don't know how much I like it, but I love this. The next one I love when I'm playing it.
Of course you would.
I have no problem when it's me who casts the next one. Please, Brian.
So the next one we have here is Jitaxis Core Augur, 8 and 2 blue. It's a Phyrexian Praetor. Flash at the beginning of your end step. Draw 7 cards. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. It is a 5/4.
True. That's gross.
This little guy, you don't need to worry about this little guy.
Incubate 10 at instant speed.
And then pay 2 to flip it.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Fight this 10/10.
I'll get this one out of the way too. We got Land of War Elves. One green, tap for 1 green. That's a 1/1.
Yeah. The next one we have is one of our Dominus here. It's a Mondrak Glory Dominus. 2 double white for the Phyrexian Horror. It's a 4/4. If one or more tokens will be created under control, twice that many are created instead. And then 1 double Phyrexian white. Sack 2 other artifacts and or creatures. You put an indestructible counter on Mondrak, which you're always going to try to do.
So it's 1.
Yeah, you pay 1 and the life you
get rid of 2 of the incubators.
Yeah, because you're going to keep doubling up. Mondrak's definitely going to be a big part of the go hard in this deck. And
don't be fooled. This is not the version of this card that I have in here.
Yeah, Brian's list that's here isn't the ones. He's got fancy ones.
I haven't updated it yet to be the proper ones.
You also have for your ramp here a nice Noble Hierarch. Love that. 1 green pip for a 0/1 human druid with Exalted, and it taps for 1/1 green, white, or blue.
Yeah, again, I just like ramp. I need that ramp to get the stuff out. Because I was thinking it was more to be Praetors, like they're my big guys, so I want to get them out. But it all works out. The next one here we have Norn's Inquisitor, 1 and a white Phyrexian Knight. When Norn's Inquisitor enters the battlefield, incubate 2. When a permanent you control transforms into a Phyrexian, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
That's pretty cool.
And it's 1/1. Yeah. Like, I was surprised they did come out with some really good cards that really synergized with some of the stuff. I was really hoping that there was some other like red colored cards from the previous set, that Mother Machine, the March of the Machines or whatever it was. Nope, that was this one. All Will Be One, that had some more red cards with Populate.
Oh, not with Populate, but that's just the red Defiler.
Proliferate. My apologies.
Fair.
To allow me to do more stuff with the +1/+1s in those colors, like the off colors that I'm not already using.
Yeah.
I rarely play red, so
that's fair.
But take this little guy.
And we've got Polychronos Reborn, triple green for a legendary Hydra 4/5 with reach. You can pay 6 and a Phyrexian white, transform it, activate only as a sorcery, and it transforms into a Polychronos Engine of Ruin. It's 6/6 with reach and lifelink. When it or another Hydra you control dies, you create a 3/3 green and white Phyrexian creature token with reach and a 3/3 green and white with lifelink. I like it.
Go hard with those Phyrexian boys. This next card, Rona, Herald of Invasion, like all of my other friends avoided this card like the plague. So it's a blue, or 1 and a blue, legendary creature, human wizard. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. You can tap it to draw a card and then discard a card. Or we can pay 5 and a Phyrexian black. And this is really what we want to do. If we do that, we transform. And we have Rona, Tolarian Obliterator. Trample, 5/5. Whenever a source deals combat damage to Rona, Tolarian Obliterator, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost.
To be honest, I didn't read this card properly when we were going over it in spoilers. That's a really, really awesome ability.
Yeah, it is. Wunderbar.
Take my lands from you, you nuts.
At last. I am complete.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool one.
Yeah. I thought it was too good to not throw in here.
That's really good, yeah.
Especially for two colors, or 1 and a blue, be able to cast it from your graveyard if they do kill it. So I get a free cast from someone. I can then recast Rona, and then I just have to, if I have enough mana, I can just retransform.
How do you recast it?
If I have from Ren and Realmbreaker.
Yeah. Very, very true. Yes. Well, and the other thing is the discard doesn't matter then.
Yeah, the math checks out.
Yes, it does. We get there. You also have Shouldered. It is 3 double black for a Phyrexian Praetor 4/5 with the old Menace. When it enters, each opponent sacks a non-token creature or planeswalker. Disgusting. Mm-hmm. 4 and a black, you exile Shouldered, return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery, and only if an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, which is easy. Then we have the True Scriptures. For each opponent, destroy up to 1.
Truer.
Yeah, true. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls. That's a disgusting ability. The next part of the saga, each opponent discards 3 cards, then mills 3 cards, also horrendous as an ability. And then the third is put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under control, exile it, and bring Shouldered back. Disgusting, because then you're going to re-sacrifice creatures. I really like the new Blink Praetors.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's very cool.
And then they re-enter. Please, can I have everybody sacrifice another non-token permanent?
Yeah. I take everything in the graveyard. Also sacrifice new things into the graveyard.
And then it's my turn again. Yeah. I will pay 5 and we'll flip it again.
I like that. Yep.
And then obviously we're going to have Shouldered the Whispering One, 5 and 2 black, Phyrexian Praetor, Swamp Walk. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
It just goes great. I'll just take this one because I
like this one. I'll take this one. You can have the next one, Brian. We have.
I didn't know you liked this one.
No, I think it's interesting, but I know you like the next one. So we have Tarkir.
That's why I stopped myself.
Tarkir Dune Shaper. It is a dog warrior. 1 white mana for a 1/2. 4 and a Phyrexian green. You transform Tarkir Dune Shaper into the Burnished Doom Stomper, which is a 4/3 Phyrexian dog warrior with trample.
I just thought it was too fun. Like it's a 1-drop, and then you turn it into a 5 or 4/3 with trample. I was like, that's great.
I like that. All right, Brian, please.
So we have. Oh, I don't have the one with the Phyrexian symbols on it, but alas, we have Tyrannix Rex 4/3 green with this spell can't be countered. Trample, Toxic 4, Ward 4, and Haste. And it is an 8/8.
Nuts abilities on a card.
I love it so much.
Even a 7/7 with or an 8/8 with one of those abilities would be great. And an 8/8 at 7 that you can't counter, great. 8/8 at 7 with trample, great.
Fantastic.
Any two of these abilities makes this like great. Can't be countered and haste at 8/8 for 7 mana would be a phenomenally playable card. Nope, not enough for Wizards. Not today. Not if they're making Tyrannix Rex.
It's my boy.
Yeah, right.
I've been trading all of my either A non-foils or other foiled versions of him for this copy, but without the Phyrexian symbols on it.
You just simply must have them.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I know you still have one.
I've got a few. We also have the Urbrask the Hidden, 3 double red for a Phyrexian Praetor 4/4. Creatures you control have haste, which is a problem when you have giant Phyrexians. And creatures your opponents control enter tapped, which is gross.
I feel like I'm missing something, but I might not be. Yeah, so we got that Urbrask. Again, having my creatures with haste, that's fantastic. The next one is the new Vorinclex, and this card put in work in my game. 3 and 2 green, Phyrexian Praetor, Trample, Reach. When Vorinclex enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 forest cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. 6, I find it weird that he's the only one that doesn't have Phyrexian to pay for, or no, they all don't, never mind. My apologies. 6 and 2 green, exile Vorinclex, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. We flip them, and we got the Grand Evolution. So the first tick, mill 10 cards, put up to 2 creature cards from among the mill cards onto the battlefield.
That's gross.
That's wonderful.
That can pretty easily, like, you could hit Jin-Gitaxias and Tyrannix Rex.
Yeah.
Yuck.
And then our number 2 is distribute 7 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. How about a 14/14 Tyrannix Rex? Or sorry, 15/15.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that being okay.
And then 3, until end of turn, creatures you control gain pay 1. This creature fights target creature you don't control, exile the Grand Evolution, or return to the battlefield.
And that's going to go get you more forests. Yep.
Yeah. And
not even basic forests.
Nope, just forests, which is fantastic.
That's gross. And then rounding your creatures off, we have Zopandrel, Hunger Dominus. 5 double green for a 4/6 Phyrexian Horror with Reach at the beginning of each combat. Your combat, not their combat, each combat. Double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Yuck. Pay 2 Phyrexian green, sack 2 other creatures, put an indestructible counter on Zopandrel.
What I was going to do is when the Vorinclex flipped, so all my creatures had the pay 1 to fight, I was waiting for me to go into combat for them all to double, and then I was going to fight all the creatures and then actually attack with them, but someone blew up Zopandrel.
Just fighting around the world there?
Yeah, I was like, this game's done, and then they're like, nah. It's like,
not today.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just stopped that one guy, because I had enough incubator tokens that were already like 4/4s, so they were large, or decently large, I should say. So if they're all 8/8s, that can clearly, if I have the mana, I can fight basically everything on the board.
Yeah.
And I'm going to at least clear, I would say, at least 70% to 80% of creatures that would be on the field. And it's not often that you have a lot of creatures that are 8/8s or higher, unless you're playing against some really, really interesting people like myself.
True. I'm also going to start this sorcery section. We've got Atrax's Fall. 1 in the green, destroy target artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying. I really like the artwork on it. It obviously is like Atraxidine, Atrax's Fall. Makes sense that it is. But it's just, I really like that fallen angel should stay fallen.
Yeah.
New Capenna's got hands.
Right?
Yeah.
I think I've gotten 2 or 3 copies of this, and I'm setting them aside. They're basically going into my staple removal now.
Atrax's Fall, it does a lot. It's it's not instant speed, but it still gives you that option, and it hits a lot of things.
Yep. Well, mainly again, most people don't run a lot of enchantment removal, so
the more the merrier, yeah.
Yeah, and well, I don't play a lot of board wipes, so the more targeted removal that I have, I can ensure at least that I'm removing what's troubling myself. The next one is Breach the Multiverse, 5 and 2 black. Each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose a creature or planeswalker card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards into the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. So again, another way for me to make everything Phyrexian.
Gross.
Then I'll let you take the Sundering, but just to kind of round it out, we have Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, and Rampant Growth for our ramps.
Yeah. Good.
And 3 visits, so just good green staples. Let's get those colors that I need.
Yeah, a lot of ability to just search for 2 lands, 1 to hand, 1 to field, 2 lands, 1 to hand, 1 to field, 1 basic onto field tapped, and then 1 forest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Especially when you're running the Triomes, at least then helps you get the colors that you need with the ones that are like, find a forest, and you can go and get your Triome for that one.
I like that. You've got a small instance section. You're speaking my language.
You got.
Sunder the Gateway too.
Yeah.
1 and a white. You choose 1. Destroy target non-token artifact or enchantment opponent controls. Incubate 2, which is a great ability. Or incubate 2, then transform an incubator token. That's pretty cool.
Yep. I thought it was good. Again, it just falls straight into what I'm trying to do in this deck.
Well, and it's good. It's good options, right? Good diversity in what you can potentially hit.
Yep. So yeah, then we have my small instance section. Daniel enjoys the because he knows I probably don't have enough interaction with him. We got Beast Within. Obviously, I'm going to run this 2 colorless and a green. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token.
Yeah, I like that.
Daniel, please take your personality.
The Cosmic Hunger. That's the big old snapping turtle. Target creature control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature, planeswalker, or battle. So again, very easy for you to defeat your own battles with this, as well as maybe you can just blow things off the board. You got a lot of big creatures in here, and a lot of things that get death touch. You got a lot of things that can really, really slap.
You could have just stopped. You got a lot.
You got a lot. I really like this card.
Yeah, and then obviously Crows and Grip, 2 and a green, split second, destroy target artifact or enchantment.
To be honest, you don't see enough Crows and Grip lately.
No. If I have them, they're in decks. I use it because it's that split second. It's
so good.
That I don't like.
Yeah, it's just such a good card. I don't know why people don't run it more, but you don't really see it in deck lists enough.
Mm-hmm.
Love the next one too, the Surge of Salvation. 1 white, you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black and or red sources would deal to creatures you control this turn. Just an awesome card.
Do you know what's not on this list? A Heroic Intervention, because I've run out of them.
That's fair. That's me with a lot of cards. There's just no more.
Just play too much green.
Yeah, right.
This next one I think is fantastic. 2 and a black for Unseal the Necropolis. Each player mills 3 cards, then you return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand.
That's really good.
Yeah. The amount of recursion that I've stumbled upon in this deck, mainly through battles, is fantastic.
Yeah, I really like that. The Unseal the Necropolis is very playable in a lot of decks. That's great. That's also
you
great with
that
that shoulder
like
too.
Gitrog and yeah.
The Thalion, the Gitrog. Like there's lots of decks. My Zamon and Dina deck is all about sacrificing creatures too. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought, and this is a common that came out of this set, so it's, I thought it was just really good. So I just grabbed that and threw that in here.
Yeah, right.
Start us off. We're diving into our artifacts now, and I feel like this one is where some of my spice is. Starting us off, we have obviously our arcane signet, 2 colorless, tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and
Yep.
obviously to help us hit the colors that we need is Chromatic Lantern, 3 colorless, and land you control have add 1 mana of any color, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah, I like that. You've also got your Golgari Cluestone. I really like all the Cluestones and Talismans, to be honest. 3 mana. Go ahead.
Jesse, who came out to play with us, he actually gave me a bunch of Cluestones, key runes, and a couple different talismans. And that's what I've been mainly using to kind of slot out that fast mana so I can trade in those cards. Because again, I'm gonna slow it down, and if I need to put in talismans and stuff, hey, at least they're a 3-drop or a 2-drop to get out. For it to really start making a dent, I need to get a bunch of them, right? So
yeah. Back to what it does though. Taps for a green or a black, and then a green and black. Tap it, sack it, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Utility. Then we got the key rune, which is 3 colorless. You can, again, tap it to add a black or a green to your mana pool. Pay a black and a green. Golgari key rune becomes a 2/2 black and green insect creature artifact with death touch until end of turn. Phyrexian insect creature.
Yeah.
Please take the key to the kingdoms here.
So this does a lot of cool stuff in this deck. Number one is you have a good theme going on, but like you've got things like your Polokranos, and this will trigger everything with Polokranos because then everything's a Hydra.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so you can split all of your creatures if someone board wipes you into the mighty Hydras. You've got your Maskwood Nexus. It's 4 colorless. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creatures you own that aren't on the battlefield. Pay 3, create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with changeling. So again, you're able to make these Phyrexians. Brian's completing the world himself.
Yeah, we'll go around.
But with the other one that's in there, you could also run. Do you have the World Tree as a land in there?
I did initially, but since I didn't have the Maskwood, it didn't catch anything with the World Tree.
Well, World Tree also, what's it called though? It also makes all your lands tap for 1 color of each.
Yeah.
Get a World
I
Tree.
can't remember what I took it out for.
You got good lands in here. I'm looking.
Yeah. I don't need it.
You need it. Get the World Tree in there. What are we talking about?
Okay, all removed.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's with the one that we're talking about, you can really do the work. I'll actually read the next one too. We've got Ozolith the Shattered Spire. It is 1 and a green for a legendary artifact. If 1 or more 1/1 counters we put on an artifact creature control, that many +1/1/1 counters are put on it instead. I really wish the new Brimaz had included green. That would have been such a killer. Like the Incubator deck would have just been able to go so silly with green's access to like token control, token doubling. I would have really
well, then it would also allow you to add in the VAT and the VAT guy.
Yeah, true.
The VAT Keeper. So pay 5, double those +1/+1 counters. Like Brimaz, if you bring out a 7/7 and then all of a sudden you VAT Keeper them for 5, you have a 14/14.
It's a big shame that like that Brimaz and that Glissa don't have partner. I know that it lore wise wouldn't make any sense, and that would be way too good of a pairing, but I want it so bad.
Funny.
Right?
But you're able to find.
I was gonna finish this one quick. Sorry.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, it's still 1 in the green, so you can tap and you can put a 1 counter on target artifact or creature control, only as a sorcery, and it has cycling. I just love every part of this card. If you don't need it later, it's draw. If you do want to put tokens on it, I really need to get this in my Tanazir deck, actually, so that I can keep putting counters on Tanazir. I really got to edit that deck up. I got no time to edit decks.
And this one, though, is every time that you create an incubator, they're getting another +1/+1 counter.
Yep.
So it's just it just adds to it over and over and over again. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
This next card, though, Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree, is fantastic. Everyone targeted and destroyed this card, but luckily having the right. But luckily having the the emblem, I was able to bring it back. So it was always on the field. But it's 3 colorless. It's a legendary artifact. You can pay 2 and tap it, and target opponent mills 3 cards, and you put a land card from their graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. It gains, if this land would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And then...
I hate that part of that ability. You take my fetches and reuse my fetches and throw them away like they're garbage. No.
I'll burn them.
No, Brian.
And then we have pay 10 and tap it, and you sacrifice the Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree, and you can search your library for any number of Praetor cards and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
Yeah. Even without the Maskwood Nexus, pretty good. Pretty good. You pull out like a Jin-Gitaxias and Elish Norn, Sholdred, Vorinclex, Urabrask. Like you're still hitting some heat.
Yeah. But I had to go into negotiations on which ones I could bring out.
Did you have Maskwood Nexus out or just the...
No, I didn't have the Maskwood Nexus during the play.
I would tell them, sorry, they're all Praetors, doggy.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
But yeah, no, I was like, okay, I'm going to grab these guys. And they're like, I really wouldn't want you to. I was like, fine, which ones can I have? I don't want to take all the heat, but most of the time I am already.
I like it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I loved it that I always had the option.
That's such a good card. The pay 2 mill 3 and take their lands is rough.
And it's not even land like in the milled cards. It's if they're in your graveyard.
Yeah, it's good overall, but just a lot of people generally do like a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So that's a pretty good chance you're going to hit a land as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Not used against me, but I like it if it was me doing it.
Someday. Next stream.
True. We've got Selesnya Cluestone as well. It's a 3-mana, you tap for 1 green, 1 white, or pay a green and white, tap it, sack it, draw.
Yep. Utility. If you don't need it anymore, just get rid of it. Obviously, Soul Ring, 1, tap to add 2.
Yeah.
And we only have 1 pair of fancy boots.
That's okay. Yeah, you've got Zoom boots, not Zoom boots. Swiftfoot boots, 2 mana. Equip creature has hexproof haste. Equip for 1. No problem there.
I have no more lightning greaves.
They're so expensive right now. I was like the other day, I was like, I gotta pick some lightning greaves up for decks, and I was like, hey, can you put? I talked to Connor. I was like, hey, can you put aside like 10 lightning greaves for me? He's like, they're like $12, right? I was like, oh, don't do that.
Did they have lightning greaves?
No. No, they didn't have them, and they're $12. Is that what they are right now? Something silly like that?
I don't even know. I haven't even asked because I haven't seen them in the case.
Yeah, they're like $13 right now for lightning greaves. It's nuts. It's absolutely cracked.
15 to 16 Canadian dollars.
Moose money.
Then after our boots, we have Talisman of Creativity. 2 colorless, tap to add 1 colorless, or tap it to add a blue and a red. But the talisman deals 1 damage to you.
Yeah. The same with Curiosity. 2 mana, taps for colorless, or taps for a green and a blue, and 1 damage to you at 2 mana.
And same with Resilience. 2 taps for a white, taps for a colorless, and you can tap it for a black or a green, and it deals 1 damage to you. I primarily went on my way to put the green ones in, because I think like 40% of the deck's green. Yeah,
I like that.
And then now...
Yeah, we're into our small enchantment section, which hurts Brian's soul.
It does. 3.
Only 3. This deck wasn't really made by Brian. Where is the real Brian? This is Uncanny Valley stuff. We're looking at a clone.
This is because I went for the theme over what I really wanted. I'll start this one off. I'll start this one off so you can get the good one. The new one, I should say. So we have Exploration, which is 1 green, and you may play an additional land on each of your turns. So again, I'm primarily focusing, if I can, for early ramp.
Yeah, you want that ramp up fast, yeah.
Yeah. Please.
The other thing too is that being able to play from your graveyard is pretty useful.
Yeah, because then also if I do have lands there, I can play it.
Yeah, I like that.
Very true. I keep forgetting about that.
This deck, the more and more I see it and think of Omnath's ability, the more I want to just build a raw elemental deck in 5 colors, like run stuff like your Muldrotha for similar reasons. And
yep.
Yeah,
utility. Like, there's a lot of great elementals.
I love commanders like this that can be built in like so many ways. Like the Phyrexian theme, it's not one that I would have ever built, and it looks super fun. Like if I was to ever, like if you were over playing games and I was like, oh yeah, like I'd like to just try this deck out and stuff, right? This looks like I'd have a great time regardless of my play style.
Yeah,
it's very on theme.
There's so many different things you're able to do. Either A, you can stomp people with the Praetors, or B, you can kind of go the incubator and I'm going to make my invasion army and I'm going to invade my battles.
Yeah.
Or it's semi +1/+1 counter, but I don't have doubling seasons. Like I didn't put a doubling season or the other +1/+1.
This looks like just a balanced, fun deck that can 0 to 100 people pretty easy if you have a setup, and yeah, I like it.
The Atali.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This new one we have here is Sculpted Perfection, which is really cool artwork, I gotta say. It's 2/1 white, 1 black. When it enters, you incubate 2, which is good. And Phyrexians you control get 1/1, an anthem and a token generation. I love it.
Yep, I thought it was great. I was like, I'm gonna that and like the Butcher. I was like, their anthems. They're going to plus my creatures, and they're Phyrexian. So if I do have Maskwood Nexus out, all my guys are getting those +1/+1s, which is fantastic. And then obviously
you have to run it. I know.
Yeah, I have to run it because I need the mana. We got Smothering Tithe, 3 and a white, and whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If that player doesn't, create a colorless treasure token with sacrifice for any color.
Yeah. Looking at your mana value stuff down there, you are right that you... obviously, is there any lands you want to talk about before I go into this one?
Not really. Mainly, they're all just, like I run some of the triomes that I have. Mainly, I have a lot of the pain lands, pay 2 life for it to come into play untapped. I mainly try to have items that had the land types in them for the searches.
Yeah, I really I don't like Moxfield very much, to be honest, but I do like how they separate their stats at the bottom. I think it is the nicest out of everyone's.
Yeah,
so I really like seeing that. Like you're down to 3.2 CMC and a Praetor theme deck. That's pretty good.
Because I can make so much mana.
And you're overwhelmingly green still, right?
Yep. 43%, 23% white, 5% blue, 20% black. Really, it should be higher because of Omnath. I can make that black mana.
Yeah. Well, and I just like I dealt out a hand for when my brain works. And even looking at like this opener, right? We've got Sea of Clouds, Steam Vents, Undergrowth Stadium, Talisman of Resilience, Talisman of Curiosity. Then we've got your Atali and a Beast Within. That's a keepable hand, I would say.
That's a very keepable hand.
Yeah, like in your first 3 turns, like we'd get Tarkir Dune Shaper on the first, a Swamp, and then Urabrask. Like you're definitely having a pretty reasonable. Atali's pretty quick to come out, but that's like what 3, 4, 5. That's like 7 mana generated almost right there.
Yeah. I think the stat right below it is the average number of lands in an opening hand is 2.47.
I like that. Yeah.
So for my test opening hand here, I got a Watery Grave, Godless Shrine, Arcane Signet, the Essence of Orthodoxy, my Ichor Drinker. The only thing is I'd have to wait for the Arcane Signet for the Ozlith, or the Ozlith. And then the Cosmic Hunger. Yeah,
the one that I'm seeing here, like we've got just one more. I like sometimes playing with these hands a little bit. We've got Godless Shrine, Rejuvenating Springs, then Soul Ring, Talisman of Creativity. So that's a crazy opener where you can, shock in a Godless Shrine, drop that Soul Ring, drop Talisman of Conviction, then you go into your next turn before we even draw our 2 cards. You go into your next turn with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available. Then you had Elish Norn, like crazy. Breach the Multiverse, another big crazy one. You've got your Renin Realmbreaker, and then I also had the Rona, which is a problem, and your Norn's Inquisitor. Like it's a very, very cool opener hand. Like this looks like it would be a really, really fun, really fun deck to play around with.
I really enjoyed it when it came down to the theme, and I played it once. And like I mentioned, I had a lot of incubator tokens. Like like for those that can actually see, this is my stack of tokens that I take to go and play. Like I grabbed them all because I need them.
Are they foil ones?
Yeah, they're all from the collector's boxes.
What a flex!
Yeah, I need to put them in the sleeves. I'll be honest. But yeah, like it made, and I had to start sorting by like my cast. Like when I card came in, and I had what's his name? Brimaz out. I put the token underneath Brimaz, and then I put the counter on the token so I could remember how much it was for, and that those are my X ones. And then I had another one, or the essence, whenever you cast a Phyrexian or artifact, make another one that's a 2/2. So I had to keep putting them underneath her so I could remember exactly which ones were which spells or which power toughness.
I like it.
It was just a lot of fun.
It looks like a really, really enjoyable deck to play.
Yeah. I feel like I enjoyed it. It wasn't like an overpowering deck that my friends weren't enjoying playing against me. That's my goal. My goal for when I'm building is I want to make sure that it's a theme that I enjoy to play. So tokens, +1/+1 counter themes, excellent. I love those kind of styles. It is a theme that I have not seen many people build. So again, it's unique in that style.
Yep.
And I enjoyed building mainly with the newer cards. I didn't go out of my way to use a lot of the older ones. So like I use a lot of the battles, the removal from the new sets, and a lot of those cards make that synergy go well. And then just because I got a lot of the Praetors, it was just fun to throw them in.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'll just sit here and keep talking about it, just like any of your decks. I really enjoyed building this one. And so I'm really looking forward to playing it on stream. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll just throw it to you for you to play it on stream. See how you enjoy it.
I would really like to do a roulette stream coming up for one of them where we'll get Slothy out and stuff, and we'll just roll a dice and see who plays whose deck. You know, you can. Yeah. We'll roll a D3 so you can't accidentally roll your own deck. Yeah,
you'd have to cancel out the 4.
Yeah, but I would like that a lot.
Yeah, again, you're going to see how people pilot your deck. Again, people might pilot it or play cards totally different than what you would.
Slothy's in the background throwing up because there's no instance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have no Slothy this weekend. He's not feeling great.
Hi, Slothy.
Hi,
Love
Slothy.
You.
Yeah.
Forgot to acknowledge that at the beginning.
Yeah. I'm an hour late, but you're not forgotten.
Nope, you're always in our hearts.
Always in our hearts, Slothy. Yeah. Do you want to wrap it up there, Brian?
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to my craziness. I'll allow Dan to walk us out.
Thanks everyone for getting to the end of the episode. As always, I appreciate everyone who listens. Thanks for everyone again tuning in, listening. If you like, share, subscribe, that always matters lots. We love doing these decks. We love talking Magic with our friends. It's really great, especially when everyone reaches out to us. So keep letting us know what we should put in decks. Keep letting me know why I should run better cards than I do, because I actually do get enjoyment out of that. When people are like, "Why don't you run this?" I'm like, "I don't know, because I'm just a silly guy." It's definitely a good time to do that. If you want to support us more than the like, share, subscribe, feel free to again, like, join Patreon. We have lots of cool stuff coming up with that. It's great to talk about building decks and all that. Check out our YouTube with stream games. They've been really, really fun. I think they're produced great. I have a great time playing them, making them. We always have very entertaining guests and people. We got some new streams coming up when life's not as crazy, but I'll probably have a bit more of a regular stream coming up. And yeah, all of our content's on the website. Check it out. And yeah,
IntoThe99.com.
IntoThe99.com, yes. And yeah, follow us on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff. We're very active there and like to chat. I think we're more active on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically the end. Build this Omnath deck.
It's so much fun, guys.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Lead your friends.
And yeah, bye everyone.
Peace.